So when I say Meherrin, Virginia,
Yeah.
what do you think of?
A nice little town that blew away recently. There's not, I don't think, a sign of the place where I was born, but it's in the back of my mind and deep in my heart, because I really miss the friends and family relations back there, and it was the start of a long trip.
What's your favorite memory from there?
My dad and his brothers, my uncles, sitting on the front porch in the evening playing music. And I'll never forget my Uncle Dudley played a mandolin. When he sat on a chair on the porch, I found if I walked up that his mandolin was right at eye level of my ears. And so I hear him playing right today. And I can see it like a picture, indelible. I wouldn't have changed it for the world.
It's the greatest thing in the world, isn't it, growing up in a house full of music?
I can't imagine. In fact, when I heard them playing, I was an infant when my dad laid me on the bed while him and his brothers got dressed to go out and play a square dance. And so I heard music when I was an infant, not just a baby. And it's funny, I look back on it, and those days that they went off to play a dance and I was an infant, doesn't seem like it was too long before I was the one that was dressing to go play a dance.
Tell me about your first public performance. Do you remember it?
Yes, I can tell you the first song I ever sang on television, I was, I think, 15. Of course, they put anything on television. It didn't have any talent. It was brand new. And I chose to sing a hit record at the time called One Has My Heart, the Other Has My Name. And I look back on it, and everybody said, what does a 15-year-old know about? You know, I said, well, it was a popular song. But I remember you couldn't keep instruments in tune. The heat was so incredible. But then my first radio appearance was on a local radio. I ran across a banjo in the case here not long ago, and there was a 8x10, just a plain piece of paper, and it was the rundown for one of our 1947 radio shows.
Wow, how fantastic! That should go in the Country Music Hall of Fame. But that deserves to be in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
I didn't think about it that it's just a plain piece of.
But it's
and they billed me
history.
as, instead of Hester Clark, my dad, and his son Roy. They didn't. They billed it as Roy Clark and his dad.
How'd that go over with Dad?
I don't think he never thought about show business. All he was doing was playing something he loved to play, was just music.
Tell me about your mom.
Mother was, I don't want to say typical, but she's a mother. She was never worked outside of the house. Don't tell a woman that she don't work.
Exactly.
And I never knew until I was in my preteens. We were out, some friends that lived out in the country, and us kids were out in the yard playing back and forth, and I heard this music started, piano and older people singing. I went up and looked through the window, and it was my mother playing piano. And when she stopped, I said, I didn't know that you played piano. She said, we never had one.
Wow.
So I was like I say, preteens before I found out my mother could play.
Well, you said your grandfather would play the mandolin. That was ear level for you?
That was my uncle.
Your uncle, I'm sorry. Yeah. Do you think that that's where your love of the stringed instrument came from? I mean, when you picked up that first string instrument, were you one with that and knew right away, this and me, we're going to be together for the rest of our lives?
When I first started playing, before I first started playing, we lived in a project in Washington, D.C., which means that buildings everywhere you walk out one door, you enter to another. And the only thing I had to beat on was an old tenor banjo that my dad had. And I'd sit out on the little porch and sit there and try to pick out a melody. And the neighbor came over one day and he said, "I've been listening to you play. Have you ever tried a guitar?" I said, "I've never touched a guitar." And he went and got his and brought it out. And when I strummed down across those strings, that mellow, nice sound, it just said, "Got you. Got you.
You're mine."
You're mine. But I ignored it. I often thought that I didn't treat the guitar at the beginning like I should, how much it had given me. Because I was into sports and I kept myself in good shape. And then when I started just playing, my right arm was okay, but the rest of my body needed a little help. And I blamed music for taking me away from the things I thought destined to play. And it turned me around.
When did you decide that music was the place you needed to be? How did you know?
I think music told me.
Yeah?
I found myself playing. In fact, it got me in trouble in high school. I started playing Saturday night square dances. Then it was Friday night square dance. Then it was Thursday night. They wanted me somewhere. And I would sleep half of the day going to school. And my dad was a stickler for education. And he stayed on me and he said, "Well, I guess it's my fault. I got you into it."
Yeah.
But it was, I can remember it like it was a switch. It went for that, what I felt for a guitar and music. I was paying more attention. I was seeking out other guitar players. Say, "How'd you do that?" And he'd do it, and they told me years later, we used to see you come in while we was playing and cringe, because we knew that you were going to bug us if we hit a hot lick. You weren't going to leave until we showed you how.
You always been a sponge for knowledge that way?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. That's what a fantastic story. Tell me about, obviously you're very close with your family. Do you have a Thanksgiving memory that sticks out to you?
Well, it was a Thanksgiving memory it was an ongoing. It was another, and we didn't need a whole lot to get us into celebrating
Sure.
Christmas and Easter. And my dad should have been on stage. He fit into everything, and I would just sit and watch him. If somebody wanted to do something, if nobody volunteered, he'd do it himself.
Yeah.
And I caught all of that. Never met a stranger. He walked into a room, everybody said, "Who is that?" I know he's somebody. But he'd tell you after I got a little notoriety, he would tell you in a minute just who he was the father of. And if they ever watched me on television, it's
Proud daddy.
proud.
And rightfully so. What was your favorite toy you got for Christmas when you were a kid?
Oh, without a doubt, a guitar.
I figured that was going to be the answer, but I just had to ask the question.
April the 15th. No. Christmas, we always went down Christmas morning.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to that was Sears and Roebuck catalog came out. Us kids, was 5 of us, and we'd go in circle in that and put our name next to it. That's what we wanted. And I came down, saw all the rest of the toys and stuff, and took that guitar up to the bedroom. 2 days later, I was playing a square dance with my dad. Of course, I sit in the back.
Well, because it was dad with son, not son with dad yet.
That's right. Exactly.
Do you love that guitar today as much as you did back then?
Even more. I stop and think about it, because I always think about it when just sitting and talking. For whatever reason, I just want to I have it, and I'll go down and it's held its own. It's a little shop worn, but it's held its own. Lord knows where it's been all these years.
I can only imagine. Wouldn't it be great if it could talk?
That's it.
This may be a tough question to answer because you have had such an extraordinary career. What are the proudest moment or moments of your career?
There have been some moments that I couldn't imagine would ever happen to me, but I'd have to just think about it and say the trip to the Soviet Union in 1976 has to go down. As I look at it, there were so many people involved.
Right.
You know, to the State Department, the consulates, and all the ones of our country, all over the map, all over the world. And all of a sudden, they're coming to me and asking questions that I was a little hesitant. I didn't want to say too much.
Sure.
And but as soon as we got, because it took 2 years to get it all together. And as soon as we got it all put together, knew where we were going, we got on an airplane in Las Vegas, flew to Tulsa, Oklahoma, flew to JFK in New York. Then from New York, we went to Frankfurt, Germany, I think. And then from Frankfurt to Moscow, we got off the airplane after 18 hours and went and got on a train at night and went to Riga up in Latvia. Now this is all in, nobody had been to bed.
Right, in real time.
Real time.
Yeah. When you got there, the gear is set up, you're playing that first night after 2 years of red tape, no pun intended, and all the other things. What do you remember about that night?
The night?
That first show, when you guys first started playing country music for that group of people that had been painted at our country to be the enemy at all costs.
Right.
And now all of a sudden you had the chance to prove that music is the universal language.
It is.
What do you take away? What sticks in your mind when you hit that downbeat and played those first notes and then you played that show? What did you take away from that night?
The smiles that came from the audience that I could see, where the lights were bright enough, and they were just looking like, entertain me, you know. And when I saw that, that took away a lot of wonderment. At least they're not only paying attention, they're getting into it. And they start and throwing flowers and candy, and I found out that politics has its place, but people, that makes this world go around. And volunteers. I am a volunteer supporter, because all the applause and things that we get on stage, there are people giving, not for the monetary, they're just giving because they want to be part of something that feels good.
Yes, yes. Amen to that. What do you want your legacy to be?
Well, that's a little difficult to put into words because so many things I've done. I would like to be remembered as he caused a few smiles, a few good feelings, and he never hurt anyone.
That's really nice. I think you have brought joy to more people than you realize that you've touched through your television show, through your records, through radio, and sitting here as a fan and as a man who is thrilled to spend a few minutes with you. I think you've lived up to that and more, what you just said.
We always wonder, many times I came off a stage and the audience was so good, so giving, and wished I could go back on stage because now I know what they want, and now I'll give them everything I had. I've never pulled up shy of any. If you're playing for 50 people or 50,000, I do the same show.
Because those people came to see you
They-
entertain them, and they paid their money, and that was your responsibility.
They did.
But that was also your joy, to watch
Yes.
those smiles.
Yep.
That's a fantastic thing. That's a fantastic thing. Two more questions, and then I am so grateful for your time. The hee-haw years, when you were on television, you were all over the radio. Can you? I mean, is it even? Do you look back at sometimes and think that wasn't even me? There was so much stuff going on, and my life was such a whirlwind. Who the hell was doing this?
Yeah.
'Cause I sure wasn't.
Oh, yeah. Because we did it so casual. We never rehearsed, and we just put cue cards up. If you blew it, if you made a mistake or something, you just did it again. That way it kept it fresh.
Right.
And we had a lot of characters on there that had a lot of trouble, trying to read the cue cards, and they'd play tricks just to keep us off balance.
Sure. Sure.
But so many, and the memories are stronger now. Every year they get a little more special.
I'm sure.
That it's just better. It's better now. I don't know if I've seen so much after as it's just. I have one problem was when I look at a cast picture, and I find myself saying, "He's gone, she's gone, he's gone," and it's not a good feeling. But right behind it is, but I got memories.
Right, right. And DVDs, and you can relive those moments. Were y'all having as much fun as it looked like you were having?
Without a doubt, we had. You would think if you were standing outside the studio, somebody was having a big party.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
No ego problems got in the way. Everybody respected everyone else. It was just a very smooth ride.
You're a very smart man with a lot of wisdom. The world is in a very tumultuous place. If you had a moment to send a message simultaneously to the world right now, what would you say?
I've read the back of the book, and we win. But why don't we make it a little smoother than we have in the past? Have we really learned anything? Are we doing the same thing over and over? But if we all took just a moment, did something nice for someone else, total stranger, then we've done.
I love that. I could talk to you for hours. It has been an absolute joy.
Well, bless your heart. Thank you.
you very much. This has
Thank
been a
you.
real treat. Thanks for your time. very
Thank
much.
you.